the Nitro Max Series here for the 52nd Annual Mack Track Western Nationals. We now move back into a qualifying format, competition bike J-Mac out on the racetrack.
Friday Sea-Doo and Can-Am jumping on board with this one. Absolutely brilliant to have our long-term friends and sponsors, Friday Sea-Doo and Can-Am, back on board once again for the 2023 season. Rob and Will Wasley out on track. Son Will on the Yamaha R6. Rob, the big daddy. There's nothing really big about Rob, let's be honest. 075 light for Rob Wasley. It's an 07 red for Will. And Will actually out 60-footed his old man there. A 168 on the little 600 that could. He runs a 10.05 at 220 k's an hour. Runs negative 0.22 on the index. Rob Wasley, negative 0.02 as he scores himself a 9.64 at 236 clicks on the Kawasaki.
Guy Karoy from New South Wales in the Aeroflow lane plays up against Blair Pennington in the rare spares lane, the Suzuki Hayabusa, in this third round of Friday Sea-Doo and Can-Am qualifying.
That's a super fresh build. They were literally working on it last night to get it ready. So interesting to sort of see how Pennington is really having to just rely on just outright skill to get this thing down the track in any sort of form. As we check out Joe Curry, well, these factory prepped Harley-Davidson Destroyers are no longer for sale, but they have a very special place in the hearts of drag racers and riders alike. Pennington looking like he's making some serious inroads at the top end. 254 clicks across the line with a 9.07. He is negative 0.26 under the A Street Bike index. Joe Curry only runs to within 0.17 of the V Twin Comp Bike index.
And of course, Joe pretty much came into this weekend just having to start the event to be named a national champion. So we pick up Daniel Nanalotto and Wayne Gummo, two locals that have done this many, many times here at the Perth Motorplex. And it's a red light for Nanalotto by quite some margin, double red light actually. But of course, Nanalotto, the worst of the two, he drives it through for a 9.076 at 251.
That's big, almost 0.6 of a second under that B Street Bike index. That is big.
Wayne Gummo a 10.035 at 231 kilometres an hour. But Daniel Nanalotto has been really punching some numbers out of that bike in the most recent couple months. And he's really starting to find his strength here at the Western Nationals.
We move on. Ryan Learmonth in the Aeroflow lane, riding for Jet Couriers, FME, Spiders, Tilt Trays and Monster Race products on the Suzuki TLR 1000. Matty Arnold into full stage on the Hayabusa. Oh, hop, skip and a jump if you please. Learmonth porpoising harder than a current generation Formula One car. That was absolutely wild as he just, the grip was there. It wasn't there. It was there. It wasn't there.
It was a wild ride. It took about 3 or 4 attempts on and off trying to get the front of the bike just to settle down. He managed to run through for an 8.31. Check it out on the replay. The Aeroflow lane is where you want to look. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, somewhere around that region.
That's not him adjusting the throttle. That's literally the bike just dictating to him, probably unloading the throttle on every hit. Absolutely crazy stuff. Troy Thompson in the rare spares lane for Warhead Racing on the Hayabusa. Dickers Speed Shop and Adrenaline Performance and Fabrication test the two-step. And the way this will work is he will set his clutch, basically holds a button in, full throttle. The bike comes up onto the two-step, holds the revs, and he will let go. And it's a little bit early, but only just 002 on the wrong side for Troy Thompson. He's going up against our top qualifier, Phil Patton, who goes a 5/10 under the Double D Comp Bike Index again. Scores himself a 7.92. Troy Thompson a 7.71. The quicker mover at the top end, Thompson, 296 k's an hour.
That's really starting to move. We're really starting to see, considering the massive headwind that we still have. If you look at the flags around the venue, they're all still blowing at a pretty considerable headwind here. Rebecca Archer in the rare spares lane lines up against David Waters in the Aeroflow lane. So we've got the Kawasaki ZX going up against the Suzuki B-King in this third round of qualifying for competition bike, brought to us by the team at Friday, Sea-Doo and Can-Am. We're in the full stage on one side of the tree, make that 2. The tree will count down. We get away Waters with a .158. Archer sleeping off the tree with a .4, but she's chasing it down at the top end of the racetrack. She drives it through for a 9.28 at 239 kilometers an hour. David Waters goes through for a 10.10 with an 8 at 229.
Yeah, David Waters launches that bike at 10,000 RPM. For a short wheelbase hand clutch bike, that's impressive. Wayne Paterson and Michael Hollister coming on out. Paterson has pioneered the CO2 cannon style clutch for some years now. And I must say that the way this bike shifts is just brutal. You watch the way the bodywork on this thing, which is incredibly flimsy, I might add. It's all carbon composite. But it just looks so angry, and it fails to launch. 06 on the tree for both Hollister and Paterson, and Patterson's just going to trickle this one out the back door.
7.68 at 290 for Hollister.
That's big.
That is huge. That is rocketing quick.
Waiting to see what the calculations are. So we'll get all of our plus minuses on the indexes once Paterson finishes his run. It's big, but it's not top quality big. 0.4 of a second under the double B altered bike index. Track temperature holding at around 31 degrees. All that beautiful sunshine we had, just keeping our surface nice and warm. The air temp currently 21 degrees as our density altitude sitting at around 938 feet or 286 meters. 70% humidity. That's going to be the toughie here for a lot of people.
Certainly is. Ross Smith on a bye run here for round number 3 of qualifying. Pole place to himself. Readjusts, gets comfortable on his Suzuki Hayabusa. Now moves towards the lasers on our electrical group training start line. Counts it down.
Look at the squat on that thing on the hit. Ross Smith is definitely here to party. Sounded like he was on it. And it's a 0.5 of a second under that A altered bike index. It runs an 8.10 at 263 k's an hour. Around about sort of where we've seen his speed. So there's no real games, no foxing there. Just not quite able to pull the performance out of the air, I reckon.
Wasn't quite able to nail the tree either. It was 008 on the wrong side. Of course, no one in the other lane. It doesn't matter in qualifying. But still, as you mentioned, J-Mac, I reckon it was probably just not quite able to just squeeze the full flow of air out the engines. We see now we've got the John Deere Nationals going on.